Welcome to the CEN show, where we present the voice of the community. The Community Education Network.com is a platform to aid the effort of self and collective improvement. In your investigative or spare time, visit the website and check out the content. I am your host, Rasaki Maskani. Tonight's topic is Know Thyself Part 2. Tonight's guest is Joe Hembrick. Brother Joe had an excellent first show, so he's back by popular demand. Good evening, Brother Joe. How are you, and what would you like to share about yourself?
I'm doing fine, my brother. I'm already, I'm just me, brother from the projects, trying to impart some knowledge to my people. Uh, I'm a historian by trade, and that's a subject that our people really don't get into that much. So I'm the go-between. Requires a lot of reading, which, I guess we got audio books today, but anyway, that's what I do. Irregardless of what curriculums that are put out to our education system. So I used to tell people I don't teach his story, I teach the truth. So that's what I do. Just trying to spark some stuff to our people. I don't look for them to take my word. I hope to inspire curiosity enough for people to do research on their own, do for themselves.
Okay. Well, excellent, man. Excellent. Good to have you back. And we can get started with some questions here. So tell us, why should Black people know themselves?
Well, I'd like to start off with a quote from the brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who made a profound statement back in the 20s that a people without knowledge of their history is like a tree without roots. And a tree without roots is dead. Plus also, history lets you know your political and social time of day. You need to compare where you are with where you've been and move from there. So it's very important to build esteem in our people in terms of what we've done, where we've been, and all of that. So it's in America and in the Western Hemisphere, really virtually all over the world, even Africa today, don't know due to certain things that have happened, such as slavery, colonialism, imperialism, and the like. So those things, the conqueror puts his value and history on. And like, for instance, behind my head, it's about the African Holocaust. Those of us that came through the school system, about every Holocaust but our own. The Jewish Holocaust, the Native American Holocaust, but our Holocaust was larger than anyone, over hundreds of millions of people we don't know about. But we know the one that lost at least 6 million over in Europe with Hitler and the Hebrew people. So this goes to show you how we've been bamboozled and away from ourselves. And just like to add that, those people that lost the 6 million, they never let you forget. We lost over 100 million, and we don't want to know. So that's the dilemma that we need as far as knowing ourselves.
Okay. Okay. All right. What are Black people if they don't know themselves?
Well, we'll be there. Whoever let us join, we'll join. We'll join the clan if they give us a shot. But we've been under attack for the last 3,000 years, and we've taken on other people's values, culture, religion, language, and the like. We're actually Black Anglo-Saxons, what I used to teach my students. We're like black people looking at the world through blue eyes. We We're ashamed. Shut up. We're ashamed of our physicalness, the way we look, our color. You know, I mean, back in the day with the hair, brothers getting the conks and the processes. And now today you see the sisters with the weaves and colored eyes and all of these things, taking skin lightening creams and of the sort, trying to get away from ourselves. And even our standard of beauty has been adopted from the conquered. You know, we want to be like Twiggy, you know, J Lo, you know, she's of color, but anything other than being black. And I'm finally glad to see in the movie industry some of the dark skinned sisters getting some play. You know, for years, been good on the screen. Had the Lena Horne types and all of that. You know, and I like to use the movie as an example, School Days, about the black colleges with the frats and the dark skin gets the light skin. You know, this stuff has been bombarded in us, and people have been allowed to advance according to that some years ago. You know, the lighters were given more preference. You know, the dark folks is out in the field and whatnot. So after hundreds of years of that, you know, kind of warps our feeling about ourselves. I remember Malcolm used to say, who taught you how to hate yourself? And that pretty much is what it is. We've been taught to hate ourselves. And if we knew how great of a people we are, you know, all that can change. Now, I've seen it change in students, so I know it can happen. But like I say, we have to teach our people this, our kids especially, you know, from an early age. You know, there's a lot of us are at that stage of life where we're looking to not be here much longer, and we want to hold on to what we've been holding on to most of our lives because we're close to the end. So that's pretty much the value system, the TV, the media, everything is, you know, anti-us. Even the color black, everything that's evil is black and dark. Everything white is, you know, like angel food cake and all of that other kind of stuff. White House, all of these terms applied to white are the positive ones. They always apply the negative to the black or the dark. But they never deal with melanin though. They don't want to go there because that's the key to us, if we even know.
So can you kind of speak more about melanin?
Well, melanin is what gives us our color. The darker the person, the more enriched they are in melanin. Melanin is the life force. When you're an embryo, you're surrounded by it. It gives us antennas, so to speak, to our environment. We can observe things and perceive things better through the melanin content that we have. And the only people that have it is people of color. The one who taught us doesn't have any. We got penile gland, which they teach in school has no medical use. It has a great use. And we need to know what it is and what it's about. I was talking to a brother the other day about George Washington Carver, who was a real dark brother. And he you know, he's come up with so many discoveries that all of the major white universities want to hire him, but he wouldn't leave Tuskegee. And they would ask him, like, Dr. Carver, how do you come up with all these discoveries? He came up with hundreds and hundreds of discoveries. And in his memoirs, he would say he would get up at the crack of dawn and walk through the woods. And when the sun rose, he could just pick up a plant and it would come to him what the medical use of that was for. And us, I don't know about your area, but my area, when we was coming along, the dark skinned kids was ostracized, you know, you little black Sambo and all that made you feel negative about being dark skinned. But there's definitely a lot to that we need to study. And I think Anthony Broader has a great little article on it in his book called The Broader File. Talks about the hair, melanin, and all of that. It's like 22 essays on different things associated with being black. So,
Okay. Well,
that when the sun hits that pineal gland, that enhances our melanin in our bodies, and we need to be out in the sun. Sun is key. We're sun people. But you know, we find a lot of us, oh, I don't want to get in the sun. I don't want to get no darker. Yeah, you need to. You know, but they're not hip to. And I know for years, like I said, I was a history major and didn't know myself. So I intend to spend the rest of my time, like I say, waking up my people to the truth. Although a lot of them don't want to be woke up, it doesn't stop me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for the audience, if anybody wants to ask a question, you could, there's a feature where you can raise your hand, and I'm gonna go to the next question, but if anybody want to ask a question, I got a few more, Brother Joe. So there's a feature where you can raise your hand and I'll see it. So let's go to the next question. What role does white supremacy play as it relates to Black people not knowing themselves?
Well, you know, to stay supreme, you got to have the least, looking down on themselves in order for you to stay supreme. But we know white supremacy is prevalent in everything in our lives that we think we're a part of. You know, we always talk about we and us. And I tell people when they came up with these things through the government, they weren't including us. I say that we suffer from the illusion of inclusion. We just had a Black president for 2 terms, and very little was able to be done. And he's supposed to be the most powerful person in the country, but those that know that corporations really run this thing. But anyway, in government, law, banking, any area that we turn, white supremacy suppresses us from advancing, like in housing. Like right now, it's a case in Manhattan Beach. It was called Bruce's Beach that these Black people owned back in the early 1900s. And, you know, and the powers that be got them out of there through zoning and eminent domain and all of that. And now it's a push trying to get those people their land back. There's a whole lot of land that we had that we don't have anymore. I don't have to mention Greenwood, which is called the Black Wall Street in Rosewood. Anytime we advance, you know, white supremacy raises its head because they fear what we might, you know, be coming to knowing. And that's what it does. Because, you know, like I said, they're a small part of the world's population, like 9 to 11% of the world. Everybody else is of color. So this is something they got to do to stay in power. So they got to control all of these entities and put down us wherever we are. And we're all over the planet, just not here in Africa. We're all, every land mass on this planet was inhabited by Black people originally, Africans originally. And some of them are still there. A lot of them are high up in the mountains, like through Asia, Japan, China, what have you, even in Mexico. And you know, like they'll show stuff on the news that never show you one, like when they show these Arab countries. A lot of black people there, Turkey, Saudi Arabia. We're everywhere, but we've been reduced to the lowest entity within those countries. And I can't speak better than Neely Fuller on it, but you know, Neely Fuller talks about white supremacy and Francis Perez Wells, and we need to recognize that it's there and devise something that we can do to combat the system and still do what we need to do for us. And when that happens, it's really going to raise its head. But there's some black people in the world that have dealt with it before in the past. And that's why history is so important. We need to take lessons from them to see what they did.
Right.
Hope I answered the question.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay, I have 2 more questions left, but before I ask you them, I'm going to kind of go around the panel. And I'm going to start with Brother Doctor. Brother Doctor?
Yeah.
So you have a question and comment so far?
I have some questions, but I'd rather for you just go ahead and finish your part. I can wait. Just come back to me.
Okay, I'm gonna see if other people have some. I know Brother Marcus had made a comment in the chat. Brother Marcus, you want to unmute and make the point that you had put in the chat?
Sure. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to participate. And I wanted to emphasize the fact that the concept of race was developed to counter and erase the culture, the way that we're living, the way that we celebrate life and celebrate elders, just as human beings. That race was an ingenious development by Europeans to substantiate white supremacy. But in reference to our focus as Africans and all people of color's focus throughout the world, we must continue to focus on culture. And when we do that, we will understand what's really important in our day-to-day life, as far as, what we eat, our relationship with nature and God, our place in our family, the roles we play. And, when you talk about education, those are the things that make education worthwhile. So that should be our primary focus. And, we need to basically cut back on this multimedia, the amount of time we spend in the multimedia, and spend more time with nature, because that's how the Supreme Being communicates to each and every one of us, is through nature.
Right. Welcome to the show, and thanks for that comment. Right. I'm gonna go to Brother Herschel.
Hello.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How you doing, man?
Okay.
How you doing, Brother Joe?
Good, Ramsey. How's it going?
I'm doing well, my friend. My friend been knowing this brother for, seemed like 30, 40 years. Looking well, man. Looking well. I do have just, Joe and I, we talk a lot. From an anthropological point of view, you and I talked about this in our last visit. You talked about the role of women historically in our culture and how their reign was supreme it seems like from the very beginning. I guess my question to you is that still the same? Obviously, it's not the same as it was. And when did it change? And how much of an effect has that changed us culturally from our own point of view, and just singularly, just men and women, period? What's your opinion?
Well, start off as a matrilineal society, which was the women, and for millions of years, contrary to some folks only have us being 6,000 years old, which is ludicrous. The female was it. And what changed was when patrilineal society started basically through these major religions is what changed it. Basically, Hebrewism, Christianity, and Islam. You see the role that the women have in those religions. The European, after being up there in that icebox all in the years, those Africans changed to Europeans, to comment on Brother Marcus is alluding to. Beating her upside and was kind of fearful of her. But Africans, the female was in high esteem before, the patrilineal thing got started. Even one of the ancient creation stories talk about how the female would get the king ready to rule. And she, as far as we were talking about the melanin earlier and all of that, she, what is today referred to as her intuition, that's not really what it is, but anyway, she has that in abundance over males. And what happened was, all the stuff we went through. If your woman's getting raped right in front of you and you can't do nothing about it for 300-400 years, what does that do to the relationship? You know what I'm saying? And that's sort of what has happened to us. And it's still an issue today. I hope I gave you something to go on, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell. They used to take women in South America, where slavery was 150 years before it came to so-called United States and Caribbean. They was tying up pregnant women like 4 horses and pulling their limbs apart, all kind of stuff. So you've gone through the trauma and there was a lot of sisters that were pregnant on the ships, and instead of coming here, they just jumped in the Atlantic. There's a lot of psychological trauma, and like I said, I think our people need mental health services along with knowing the history and whatnot to recover. But before you can recover, you got to analyze what happened. And so a lot of them, it's like unknown. People trying to survive, people trying to make it, trying to put food on the table. So they don't have the time to do what somebody like I can do with the research and all of that. And I'm retired. So, but I've been, knowing this for, like I say, about 40 years. So, but it was a while that I didn't know myself, and I was studying in the field. So you got to have access, got to know what the information is, and you got to dig into it. And that's what I hope to spare some people from doing. But with technology today, they got stuff on YouTube coming and going. Lectures all day long on the subjects that people can check out if they don't want to read books. It's there. Anybody else want to comment on the anthropological aspect of that?
Yeah,
Okay, was that it for that?
yeah, that was it.
Okay, so I want to go to Mayat Hembrick. How you doing, Mayat?
I'm doing good. Hi, everyone.
Okay, good, good. You have a question so far or a comment for dear old dad?
Oh, no, I don't have any questions, but I'm just, happy to be here, happy to listen. Good job, Dad.
Thanks for being here. Okay, why? That's WAH. Question or comment? I don't know if that's a female or male. Why? WAH. Just listening. Okay, Zakir. Okay, I guess Zakir just listening also. The esteemed Professor Amin Ra. Question or comment yet? Unmute.
Gotta unmute, Rob.
You gotta unmute.
Hey, this is why.
Johnny, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I come back to you. Why?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I yield to why. I yield to why.
Why? Okay.
I can't get back on it.
We can hear you. Why?
Oh no, okay. I'm just tuning in to listen to Joe. I don't have no questions right now, but I probably will at the end.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thanks for being here. Okay, Professor Amin Ra.
Yeah, first of all, Bonnie Gani, everyone, and appreciating this program, Rajhani, and just the effort to get information out to the community, in-depth thought, challenging thought, and we need it. Education is a tool and weapon we need. And the best science, the reward in all research is history. And I really appreciate historian Hembrick for bringing forth this information and his perspective. I just have a question with regards to the relevancy. Could you give us a brief relevancy of understanding our ancient history and our ancient spirituality? Why is that relevant today?
Well, like I say, I'm just getting into this metaphysical thing myself, and there's something to it that they don't want us to know. Like we already know, as far as other aspects in society, we're the bigger, the stronger, the fastest, the smartest, and all of these things. And there's something else to that as far as our connection with nature and our connection to the cosmos. And you can see things a lot clearer and just through your God in you, you can see things and perspectives, and it just enables you to to move through the stuff we got to move through with knowing that. We already, like in regular churches, they talk about spiritual and all of the spirituality, but we're already that way. Without that, but it's geared toward something else instead of the stuff that our ancestors did, the things that they knew, and that's what we need to seek out.
So when you say mental liberation through historical knowledge and understanding, and some argue that in order to liberate you, to be yourself is a part of liberating yourself, to be your unique self and draw on your unique culture. And I was just, when you, last time you were saying the importance of know thyself and the relevancy of knowing thyself so that you can be yourself. You know, like, even though, you know, it was stolen from African people from the standpoint of scripture, that, you know, that's a very important aspect to be. You may be in the world, but don't be of the world. And we teach our children, don't let the world change you. You try to make a change in the world, especially the negative aspect of the world, because Black people are supposed to be the moral vanguard of the world. We're the foundation of moral and ethics based upon ancient history. So I wanted you to go into the relevancy of, because see, people say, okay, I know my history. Yeah, a lot of people, Italians, may know their history. They still had the mafia. You know, I'm seeing it as a basis for us to be more ethical and more loving and caring for the humanity and the environment because of our history as an African people. So how do you respond to that analysis?
Well, you know, a lot of the negativity that, you know, we know exists, you know, did not exist in ancient African society. For example, there was even there wasn't even a word for jail. There were no old folks homes because we didn't throw them away. There were no orphanages because we didn't throw away children. Like I say, it takes a village to raise a child. But everything that we've learned from these Europeans is contrary to what we were. And look where that has led us. You know, this planet is all messed up. And matter of fact, today is Earth Day, I tell everybody, so we know what condition that is in. But just to bring back humanity to ourselves and hopefully to the world, because we are the founders of humanity. And look at the state of things. But if we can start block by block, you know, with it. You know, because the family structure is going, all these things are going. If we get these values back instilled in us, I think we have a chance to, to get at least ourselves correct, then hopefully share with others in the world. So that's what I believe the significance of it is. But you can't do it if you don't know it. You know what I'm saying? And that's my spiel on it. You know, and like I say, we didn't get that way overnight, and we're not getting back overnight. But it's step by step.
So what in John G. Jackson's book, John Henry Clark wrote the preface for, and they talk about the early family being matriarchal, and then and I think last time you talked about the change. I'm talking before even ancient history. We're not talking about the civil, how we move from instinct to rationale and to ideology and religion and things. So I'm talking about prior to that. What are some of the things we can draw from that teaching of the matriarchal system and the early Aboriginal African people on the continent that led to civilization, Ethiopia?
I'm not an anthropologist, And there's very little that I go to before. But the Twa, I mean, nature was it. We tried to stay in tune with nature.
Mm.
That's
Teach.
part of our thing, the air, the water, the sun. Just following nature will tell you how to live correctly. But we're like anti-nature. Not us per se, but the world. That's why this planet is so jacked. But as far as the matriarchal thing goes, I know it goes back billions of years. I've only read a few things on it, like Old to the Old Darkland. What's the brother's name? Martin? I think his name.
Finch. Finch.
Finch. Charles Finch, yeah. He alludes to a lot of the involvement of humans, and he uses the matrilineal system, even with gorillas, and what they would do and how they conducted themselves with their clans. He goes back that far. So, but the woman is, or the female in all of nature is the subject. Like I say, human is female. I can just attest to what I do in my own life. I raised hounds for years. My females are always superior to any male I've ever had, as far as learning and what to do and feeding and all that. It's much easier to train and whole nine. And so being a teacher, I was a PE teacher for a while, for years. And my girls used to get it for the boys. So we have to get that union back. But as far as the earlier, the prehistory before that, I'm not really, I can't go into detail on that because I haven't really researched that. I can't comment pre-ancient history.
Okay. Well, let's get these last two questions in, and then we could go back to the panel. So,
Rob, if you hip to that, share that with us, please.
With the matriarchal system?
As far as the pre-ancient history.
Well, a lot of people don't like to deal with it because a lot of people like to think history starts when people start writing with the Piper's paper, the Book of the Dead, the coffin text. So they go by what was writing. But in a book by Charles, I forget his name, but he wrote a book called Signs and Symbols of Primordial Man. And they go into a period of discovery where when the first people were on Earth, they had to discover who they were and distinct themselves from animals, insects, and distinct themselves from the elements that they were in, and so they lived by instinct at first, fear and things of that nature. And then from there, as they began to mate and have children, women were the head of the family. And this was brought forth in John G. Jackson's book, Introduction to African Civilization, where he says that even though the Bible says man was made first, in John G. Jackson, he said, no, you can find matriarchal systems in Aboriginal parts of Australia among the Aborigines and in rural parts of Africa where women were the leaders of the community. And it's very important because it sees a balance, because we see things through sexism. And that's why I want to see the relevancy of the day. And they talked about the women were the first architects because they built what was called the thatch hut. They built the homes on Earth. when the European was still living in the cave, they built the first homes up. And then and they used to gather food and hunt food. And then through what they called, it come to me, they learned how to grow food and domesticate animals. And that's what John G. Jackson was talking about. And the invention of the wheel and the blowgun and all that. So as they learned how to grow their food and domesticate animals so that they didn't have to go out and hunt, that's when the male became more prominent as far as being there more, because their life expectancy was real short because of, you know, the elements that they were in. And so anyway, the women were very essential, you know, as far as that is concerned. And today, even today, women raise families. Women are your first teachers. And it's why we get ties and mama get money and all kind of stuff on her Mother's Day. But we lucky if we get some shoestrings. And so those are the aspects of the role of, even Earth was called Mother Earth because it produces life, and women produce life. And this is, you know, before they had longevity and built culture apparatus that developed long-term mating relationships, men would just have sex with women and leave. And when women had the babies became the community, and they grew from little small clans into groups and into various forms of evolutions all the way up to civilization. But I think that is very important so that we can teach young people the importance of woman's role in the development of civilization, and whether you look at the evolution or creation, and take them out of the sexual object image that we have today. So you have to go back in history to see the strong women, the Harriet Tubmans, the Sojourner Truths, the Fannie Lou Hamers, Ida B. Wells, all those great women, not in prehistory, but in recent history, but they got the spirit of the women that were in prehistory as strong women in leadership. And in the absence of men standing up, women take forward. Now, the European would exploit that and use women because he's not afraid of them. But they do kill and destroy the men as they were invaders in those histories. But anyway, I want to hear you, Joe, from your perspective, because you know there's a lot of issues about culture and where culture came from. And you know, people create cultures just like they create gods. Gods don't create people, and culture don't create people. People develop them and create them. And most people have it, God created the world, but people created a God that created the world. And so those are the issues that came out in these writings with Finch and John Henry Clark and all those Albert Churchward wrote the book Signs and Symbols of Premortal Man. And so those issues are very important so that we will have a balance. We had a balanced system of women and men ruling and working together with the highest respect in morals and ethics toward each other in some societies, not all, because some, you know, just like today, we got some good men, but we got some men that ain't good. We had some communities that had a balance and they flourished. The ones that went to savagery were the ones that exploited and abused their women. And so that's the issue that I was bringing up.
Okay. That's excellent. Thanks for that, Professor Amin Ra. Okay, Brother Hembrick. I can say that Black people are in a state of inequity worldwide. What can they do to recover?
Well, first you gotta unite, and then, like I said before, draw upon historical things in the past. The closest one to us, I would probably say, is the Garvey movement. But this is the thing. You know, Africa, the continent, produces everything that everyone else uses. All the natural resources come from there. Africans do not have control of it. Okay. And if they tried to take control, the Europeans would probably try to blow up the continent. So we got the resources. We have the know-how. All we need to do is unite and get something going. To use example for the Garvey era, you know, they had the triangular trade through the UNIA, where they had ships, and they were trading goods between the United States, West Africa, and South America. They had a triangular trade. They had 3 ships that were doing this. They were selling stocks. Now, I get calls from people all the time about the stock market with this new money thing they got and all of that. But why can't we invest in ourselves? You know what I'm saying? We spend a lot of money. These holidays, you know, we go broke. Giving all this money to these religious institutions, they get your money and your time. But just think, if we didn't spend it on that stuff and we pooled it into some type of organization or create a corporation, where we can start to produce things to get our kids into something. There's nothing there for them. That's why they do what they do. But if you know, I mean, you know, we have so much power. We spend a lot of money. We got the people. We got the know-how. But just that uniting, that umojo, it escapes us at the moment, and that's what we need to work on. And it's one thing I love from the nation is do for self. You know, we are every time we get something rolling, we got to include every other ethnic group around. But when they do stuff, they do not include us. So, but you know, it can be done. The money's there, the know-how is there, but the unity is lacking. So, you know, we got to produce something. A pair of drawers or something, you know, something that can be covered up till we get it right. When you produce, you know, you're creating jobs. You know, as far as the manufacturing goes, the distribution goes, advertisement goes, you know, those are gonna be jobs for our people. That's how we can recover. We can grow food. I just ran into a brother that's growing food in people's yards, all kind of vegetables and whatnot, in the front and the backyard, and the people handle all this. Called a Sante Farms, where the people take care of everything. They come and set your garden up, grow your stuff. They got other people growing stuff, and other people growing other stuff, and they exchange these things that are being grown. Corn over here, lettuce over here, you know, fruits and stuff over here. And that's the way, you know, Africans operated as far as the federated states, you know, and it stopped conflict, you know, because, you know, one group needed the other group's goods, so it kept the peace. And that's why, again, I say history is so important. If you knew what happened before, you know, you can do it again, but, you know, we don't know. Like Black Wall Street. The one thing we got to do to get this going, we have to be able to protect ourselves. This is something that we haven't done a very good job of. You know, the young brothers out there doing it to themselves. You can get some of these ex-military brothers, you know, to reel them in and teach and train them how to protect us. Give them a job doing it. Military doing it. We around the world fighting for imperialism. Why can't we get something going for ourselves? My take on it, you know. And then, you know, we go, you know, we fight around the world. Them brothers came home and got hung with the uniforms still on. You know. I don't mean that any of the Vietnam veterans and World War II, if any that old are out there, or the people from the Desert Storm. But matter of fact, I had a cousin-in-law in the military, and I asked him, I said, if you got sent to Africa, you got to see people like you, you know, what would you do as far as what the military told you to do? He couldn't answer. You know, he said, I guess I got to do what they order me to do. And just want to say this point. I remember when Angola was going through something, and the United States never came to help. The only one who went to help was Castro. Castro sent Cuban troops over there to help Angola. The United States didn't. Most of the United States military was us. You know what I'm saying? So there it is. But, you know, we have it all, that the mind has to be changed. The mindset has to be changed. And it's going up against a lot of stuff.
Okay. All right. So the last one is, what role does religion play as it relates to Black people not knowing themselves?
Well, the major ones was involved in your enslavement. That's all I tell them. Like, hey, how can you be part of something that, and plus, you know, that enslaved you in the first place? And number two, all of the stuff they're teaching and going by is after stuff that they redid. So if you're gonna be in it, why don't you go back to the original one where they got it from? Get them white Jesuses off the wall, all that old stuff. And plus the way they treat their women is contrary to what Brother Raw was just talking about. You know, we give a lot of time and we give a lot of money. A lot of money. You know, Christians give 10%, Nation give 20%. You know, I don't know what the Hebrews give, but that's a lot of money. And, you know, they always use the phrase, and I'm waiting for somebody to tell me, or show me where it says, you know, whatever you give, you get it back in tenfold. I haven't seen a tenfold person get something back other than a preacher my whole life. That's what the word says. You give, you get it back, your cup be overflowing and all of that. Show me one. Getting that faith. And
I'm on Zoom. I'll call you back.
Jesus never collected no money.
Okay.
He was throwing the money changers out the temple, wasn't he? So it's a business, and even in its early stages of the Catholic Church, you know, they use armies to war and to take people, and it's all about land and resources. They come, they send missionaries, they check you out, they see what you got, look around, go back and report. They come back with the military and take your stuff and leave you with the religion. And I tell you, the continent of Africa is all of a foreign religion. Ain't none of it African. None of it. The Arabs first with Islam. Matter of fact, when we came here, when we were enslaved, come to America, we were mostly Muslims, but we wasn't Muslims until the rise in the East and swept across, you know, North Africa and on the west coast of Africa. You know, so that's an alien religion. Christianity, well, they all had their origins in Africa, but the twist that was put on them were by other folks. And I say the African spirituality is where we need, that's all. Nature, it's in nature. The cosmos, what's happening, and what we can become aware of by our connection with that through melanin, which we have and they don't have. To start to practice some, some African cultural things. I've been at relatives' house and I would tell them, hey, won't you, we have barbecues and whatnot. And I always set a plate by itself with all those spoons, even sometimes with food on it. And what you doing? I said, that's for the ancestors. That's what our ancestors did. At every meal, they did that. For those that are not here, we know the libations, all the brothers, pouring the 40 ounce a little on the ground for the brothers ain't here. We said that for the ancestors. So, the more and more you get into, your value system, the more and more you become yourself. And I tell people, I talk to a lot of Christians, I said, you're a born again Christian. I'm trying to become a born again African.
Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, that was very nice, very nice. So there's a few people that came in a little later in the presentation during the question session. So I'm gonna go to Charles Drayton. Would you like to unmute yourself, Charles? Okay, Charles probably listening. And then Kevin came in around the same time as Charles. Kevin's phone. Yes, Kevin's listening. And then
Screen and a lot of people are muted.
yeah, they probably just listen or okay, what about G Norfleet? Just came in.
Norfleet.
Question, comment? No, I'm gonna go back to Brother Doctor then. Brother Doctor?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Oh, okay, this is Charles Drayton.
Can you go ahead and let you?
Okay, Charles, do you have a question or comment? I know you came in a little later on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I could hear you.
Yeah, I was driving. I had to pull over, so I didn't want to
Okay.
I couldn't get to that, my mute button. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. I definitely wanted to tune in. I'm appreciate the knowledge that's being conveyed. Joe and I go back a ways, 50 years, but I am heavy into us coming together, uniting as a people, and literally taking the religion at the door, because those type of moves are being made right now. So we can come together and develop an economic base for ourselves that will lead to us owning banks again. That's happening. That movement is happening, and it's happening right now. I believe we have to come together as a people without involving other people. It has nothing to do with anything other than we need to establish our own economic base so that we can take care of it. The spirituality is innate, just like Joe was saying. It's innate within us, all African people. We get over here and we separate ourselves with various religions, belief systems, and all that. We're separating ourselves. The object is come together. We are stop just being a consumer. And by the way, we do spend a lot of money. It has been estimated. We as people spend $1 trillion a year. We provide $1 trillion a year into this society. And the object right now is for many people to come conscious that all we have to do is keep a portion of that within ourselves, and we can establish an economic base for ourselves here. It's happening. I will keep in touch. I've been on the road driving the whole time, but I've been listening the whole time, and I like, the history is very important, but we have to act in the here and now. Once you get so much information about your morality, and it's about what are you going to do? Who are you going to come together with? And there's a pattern, like minds. Who else wants to see us come together in peace, developing our own communities? We have to have a certain set of laws to live by. Yeah, but it's all about coming together and doing away with all that old stuff that all of us were exposed to in this country. I don't care how old you are. At any rate, I'm blocking traffic now.
Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity to share.
Okay.
And,
Brother Rascani,
Yes.
that's Peter's brother.
Peter?
Peters. It's Peters.
Oh, Miss Peter's brother. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for chiming in and making the contribution. Appreciate it. Okay, brother doctor.
Okay. Hey. Yes, good information. I don't know if we're talking about feelings, personal feelings. We're talking about morality, but Brother Hembrick and Brother Hembrick and even Rod, you guys just kind of answered your own questions, man. You all these issues, but you kind of answered your own thing. Like Brother Hembrick said, hey, white supremacy. When you talk about Africa, they got all the natural resources. Hey, whites came in there to control of everything, and he said if the blacks would try to do something, hey, they would do something. A lot of things are said, man. It just comes down, man. Do we really know our people? You know what you're dealing with, because we talked about religion. Blacks are dividing religion. They're gonna divide. They would die for their religion. So there's no coming together, man. With all black people, everybody has their different beliefs, spiritually, like you guys just said. So one of the things you preach, like-minded people coming together. I mean, it's what, 13 people here,
Yes.
and if it's 13 people here, if we can't all show up at Roski House tomorrow with $100,000 each, that's $1.3 million. We should be able to show up at this house tomorrow, everybody with $100,000, that's $1.3 million. If we can't do that or show receipts right now, what are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? It's going to be a struggle, and like Brother Hembrick said, I know things not going to change overnight. When would it change? What's your opinion? How long do you think it would change? If everybody knew what you guys just talking about, the history, the matriarch, the anthropology stuff, if everybody was on the same page, how long do you think it would change? That's one question. And be the devil advocate. I agree with everything he's saying, but we talk about white supremacy, like he said, he said, hey, all this whites, they want to stay in control. Okay, they want to stay in control. So what do you think they're going to do? They want to stay in control. So you got to figure out how to kind of like lessen their control, overcome their control, go a different way, because they're going to stay in control, like they're over in Africa staying in control. China, man, you guys looking at the China, man, they're on every continent on Earth, and then on every country, buying up land. You got Bill Gates now buying up all this farmland. And I know somebody was talking about growing their own fruits and all their vegetables. Hey, I'm an expert in that. I got reads on that. Roski, so you see all the pictures. I used to send him all the stuff I was growing. I felt so bad. I was growing so much stuff, it was going to waste. I was going neighbor to neighbor, just dropping off tons of tomatoes and squash and all different kind of vegetables. But my question is always, I know it's not going to change overnight. What's your expectations? You know our people. You're talking about it. You guys teach. You see the kids. You know the issues in the community. How long is it going to take, man? I mean, because a brother asked me that, man. He called me up, asked me, hey, if I was in trouble, do I know at least 5 friends I can call up and get $100,000 real quick? And I reversed it back on him. He said, yeah. So I started asking a few friends, hey, you know someone you can call up right now and get $100,000 if you're in trouble? And half of my brothers I know said no, half said yes. So, we were talking about coming together and, pulling our funds together. It's kind of like Neely, hey, all those barbecues and getting together, that's a waste of time. You need to come together with, something on the table, man. And to that time comes, we can just sit here and talk about it. But, I've been there in a situation where, like I said, man, you talk the talk, walk the walk, man. I mean, we got 13 people here. What can we do as a group right now, tomorrow? What can we do? I will arrive at Ross King House tomorrow with $100,000 check, cash. What can we do? Can you match me? Somebody come up with a business idea. What can we do? We don't need to make a profit this year. We need to make a profit next 5 years. What can we do to make a change? Can anybody match me on that?
I can't come with 100 grand. I can come with something way less than that, but
So how long should we wait?
Well, brother,
Everybody's coming together, but come on, somebody come up with a plan. I'm always starting. Let's start tomorrow. You get to start rolling. The brother said, block by block. When is the first block gonna jump off?
I understand what you're saying. Go ahead, Brother Hembrick.
But hey, man, something's got to jump if we're serious. We can sit here and talk all night. I agree with the television stuff. TV's been around since the late 1920s, 1930, and yeah, I agree with Marcus. Marcus said, yeah, man, leave the TV alone, get back to nature. But half our people are not going to do that, man. So we can talk about history and all this back in the past, but man, we got to think about the future, man. If we're going to make a change, and you got to start thinking about, hey, some people are just not going to want to do what you think is right, what you think is morally or ethically. We're all talking about right now, I think just feelings, man. This is how we feel. We feel, hey, yeah, our people are not this. We just the feelings. And that's all good, man. It'd be feeling like this for 400 years. It's going to be another 400 years. We all feelings. I know one thing, man. When you throw people right there on the spot, hey, let's get together. People start backing up with excuses. Everybody get nervous and scared because now, it's real. You're talking real stuff now.
So let's Brother Doctor, let's let Hembrick respond to that.
Appreciating your comments, Brother Doctor. Like I say, I'm in the field of history. All I can think of is a good example is the Japanese. After they got them bombs dropped on them. And 50 years later, they had, the world at their knees economically, especially the United States. And what they did, they had a series of 5-year plans that they had. They would send, people all over the world to countries who were the top in certain fields, education, military, transportation, and the like. And they would take these things back home. First thing is establishing a home. That's our biggest problem. We're so scattered unless we want to jump on the boat and go back home. But anyway, after those 2 bombs, those people, the only thing they had was a wheelbarrow. After 1945. In 1995, they had done it, with perseverance and these small 5-year plans. that they put together. So, you know, we need a plan. And I talked to one of my elders, they always say, we need some leadership. I like, no, we need a plan, because if we go behind some leader that's pulling everybody together, you know, if he ain't got, you know, some good bodyguards, he get knocked off, then the plan dies. You know, we need to plan, you know, bear the man to carry on the plan. And, you know, I think we got the minds to develop a plan. You know, but we have to do it in a Pan-African way, I believe. But as far as, you know, come with $100,000, like you said, well, why don't we just try $1,000? That's 13,000. That I don't care if we set up a hot dog stand, but, you know, sell to black people. We put the money, you know, you got to start small like we can. But what Brother Aaron was talking about you know, about the buying of black products. There's products out there that some black people are producing, but do we buy it from them? And then again, if black folks, you know, don't have the company, like I was looking for a treadmill, couldn't find nobody black to do it. And I said, do you have a black salesperson in the office that I can, you know, make sure they get the commission? And because of the COVID, they couldn't find me one. But I hear what you're saying, but the average black person that can come up with $100,000 is not in this circle that I'm aware of. But like I say, we can start out with 100 or 1,000 and go from there. The only thing we do is spending it on stuff ain't got nothing to do with us anyway. That's my point. Is the money that we spend on stuff historically that ain't got nothing to do with us. 4th of July. Tell people you was enslaved. What are you doing? Getting broke on that. Christmas, Easter, New Year's, Thanksgiving. You know, we spend a lot of money. And if we just had the mindset, first you have to see it in your mind. It has to be an idea. Then develop a plan. And go from there. Like I'm not a business person, but there are some out there that are doing some big things. Let's draw up on their knowledge. I know Claude Anderson is a good find on those type.
Yeah, well, Brother Hembrick, we have some people that are into some financial type situations that they've been dealing with for a long time. Brother Doctor, he knows about some things financially. So, you know, he said, what can we do now? We can put something together, that's for sure. We can do that, and that's already in the thought process, and it will happen one way or another, and hopefully sooner than later. And I will contact some people. So I'll Brother Doctor, I hear what you're saying, and it's gonna come to fruition. That's why we're doing what we're doing right here and now. So I will take. I know it was a.
Who's now? I mean, like you said, go back to the plan. I mean, what's the plan? What kind of plan? Or I mean,
Well,
I
that's going to be discussed.
Discussion, or what's the goal, or what's the aim of this discussion tonight?
Well,
if it's just history or.
Well, it's know thyself.
When you start talking about let's get something together, I'm on it, man. I'm ready.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna do that. That's already the goal of this show is education and perspectives and getting the mindset to change. But we have other avenues we're gonna look at, and what you're talking about is gonna happen too. Just like this is happening, that's gonna happen too. So I'm already got my wheels turning. I talked to a few people already. So There it is, brother doctor. All right. So the iPhone, whose iPhone is this? Go ahead and unmute yourself. And I don't know who iPhone that is. Question, comment. Hello? You have your hand raised. Okay, so if they can unmute themselves, they can get something said. So is there anybody else? Because we're gonna
Yeah.
Go ahead, Professor Amirad.
First of all, we got a lot of Black people with money and doing a lot of positive things. Oprah opened up a school in Africa. She helped finance the Malcolm X film. She gives scholarships. LeBron James is doing a lot of stuff with his money. He opened up a school doing this. There's a lot of positiveness, but our mindset from our culture, the reason history is important, our culture was not to rule the world and not to see life through capitalism and money. Our cultural apparatus was about just living on earth, and the earth belonged to everybody. That's why we didn't develop a lot of the resources that Joe talked about. Everybody had access to them. You bartered stuff, you trade for cultural exchange, and it's a beautiful thing. It took us a long time to get where we are today. From shackled slavery, we spent close to 300 years in slavery. And for people to get to the point where they have $100,000 they can liquidate, that's beautiful. You don't even need nobody. You just go do it yourself. Other people are doing it themselves until you can get organized and get with people that have the resources you have. But we've had Black people look what Johnson did with Ebony and Jet. He had his whole family. Look what Berry Gordy did with Motown. We've had many economic successes. We've had Black banks. We've had Black mortgage companies. You understand? But you have to understand COINTELPRO and their ability to try to destroy and character assassinate and imprison and look what they did to the brother in Mississippi after Katrina. They put that brother at mayor, put him in prison because he criticized Bush on some trumped up charges that people believe he did it. You understand? Because the white man said he did it. You understand? Don't go that way. We're in struggle. It's going to take us a long time to get. And I agree with Doctor. We need a plan. We need an overarching plan. We had the Freedom Bank. Frederick Douglass was over it. The Europeans sabotaged it. We had $1, give $1 with the Sentinel, with the NAACP. They also said, give you $2. They sabotaged that. So it's not like, it's like if we get together, the man ain't gonna stop us or do something to keep, because they know that economics is power. The brothers and sisters in Africa are rising up, some of them. They're trying to get in control of their resources. As Joe pointed out, we got everything that goes into making a car is on the continent of Africa, but we don't have an African car. It ain't because we don't have the knowledge and the wisdom. It's because the system won't let you get to the point whereas you can start developing weapons. That's what the man said in South Africa. Said the reason we don't pay them a bunch of money for work because they'll buy weapons or get weapons or create weapons. That's what the Israel's doing to the Palestinians. They say they can't even get a cement to build their homes because the Jews say, not Jews, but the Israelis, because they're not Jewish. You understand? They claim to be Jewish, just like the white man claimed to be an American. He's not a Native American. He's a European over here. but he supplanted them and took their identity. But the point is, I'm trying to say is that we are on the move. We're fighting for reparations. We're fighting for bigger and better opportunity. We've had independent schools. We got at least 90 independent Black colleges. And we're the most feared people in this country and in the world. But we are also the moral and social vanguard of the world. And that's the ethical part. And as the good doctor was saying, and as Joe was saying, if you know who you are, it don't make no difference where you are, just be you. Now, can you go in to get a job wearing African clothes and talking cultural apparatus? No, you in enemy territory. There are a lot of people doing underground stuff, positive underground stuff in the 60s that grew up, that we grew up to get in position to help your people. Not help yourself, help your people. Don't get in the position and lock the door and say, I'm the only Negro here. And that was a movement, you understand, that we had, and the system sabotaged it. So we got to rebuild the overarching movement of consciousness. And that's what Mr. Hembrick, Professor Hembrick was talking about, building consciousness. It ain't about just money. Like you say, well, you're gonna mess it up, you're gonna give it right back. If you don't know how to work together and build a foundation based upon the overarching goal of getting power, then it doesn't matter. Because like the doctor said, the guy got the power, he'll just take it from you, like he took his land from the Indians. Look at them people getting that beach property back. You understand? $75 million, that's what it's worth. You understand? They didn't, you know why they did that? Because of our struggle. The struggle of Black people, you wouldn't have got that conviction on Floyd if it wasn't for us standing up. And the reason white folks showed up because we stood up. So just keep struggling. That's what you got to do. And that's the beauty of us as a people. We're resilient. And we're beautiful people when we're in our right mind. You understand? When you see a Negro out of his right mind, he's smoking dope, shooting each other. That ain't Black. That ain't African. White man want you to think it is. No, our culture is a loving, peaceful, ethical, and spiritual culture. His is a devil culture. And you might as well face that. Now, I ain't kind of mad at people who marry white people. I ain't mad at Black people who move out in white neighborhoods. Say, I'm the only Negro here. Hey, go ahead, you do that. But there's a cadre of us that's gonna stay Black conscious with a deep thought and a deep love for people and a deep respect. I went to Ross County's class. I've been to Joe's class. They had a special love for their students. It wasn't just about teaching the subject matter. It was about teaching them about life and telling them the test on this math is not your real test, but it'll help you pass life tests as far as getting yourself together. So we got a lot of positiveness. We got to look for the positive. The white man make you think you ain't doing nothing. You ain't doing nothing. But hey, we have done a lot and we have liberated other ethnic groups and cultural groups through our liberation. You wouldn't have gay liberation if it wasn't for the Black liberation. You wouldn't have women liberation if it wasn't for the Black liberation. They borrow our songs, they borrow our language, they use us as an example, and we have liberated a lot of people through our struggle. So I'm optimistic, we're on the move, and I hope the good doctor meet people with hundreds of thousands of dollars and they invest. And I hope Joe keeps studying and giving young people and those that will listen. I don't care if it's 13 people on this program. That ain't the point. When Ross County put it on YouTube, we don't know how many views it's gonna get. You understand? It's a beautiful thing. We didn't have this until you built it, Raskani. And it's growing. It takes time to grow. Last time we only had 5 or 6 people. This time we had 13. We just keep on growing. That's all.
All right, Professor Amara. Yes, sir. The good doctor always get Professor Amara to come back and come alive. Okay, wait.
I loved it. I loved it, Professor. That was good, man. Love it.
You are too, brother.
That's good.
Okay, the person that got the iPhone got the hand raised. I see you able to say something now? Okay, still not. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna go to the sister that just came in, Danita Smith.
Hi, I'm a
Hi.
guest of Joe's. Joe
Yeah.
extended the invitation to me.
Okay, do you have a question or comment? We kind of like at the twilight of it.
No, I just wanted to come in. I enjoy this discussion, this conversation, and I'm sorry that I didn't come in earlier so that I could have seen the professor speaking from the beginning.
Okay, well, you'll be able to see this on. It's going to be on YouTube, and it's also going to be on the website, communityeducationnetwork.com. So
Okay,
you can listen to it. Thanks for coming out, though.
of course.
All right. So we'll take 1 or 2 more people, and we're going to conclude this evening. Okay. If nobody else, Brother Joe, you want to end with something here?
A comment to make and on the end. And I had written it down, and Brother Rob made it come back to my memory.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Understand? We are behind enemy lines. We're in warfare. We're behind enemy lines. And, we suffer from the illusion of inclusion. But I would say this, which is another big hindrance to us, and I like partying just like the next person, but people that are under attack like we are, we party a whole lot. And I remember I used to hear stories about Bunchy Carter, the former the brothers in the Panthers, and they would cut the music off at parties, and he would stand on something and just running down the stuff that they needed to do and organize, and then start the party back up. I just hope the conversation can go forth in whatever circle we're in, because we never know who we're talking to. And I also want to dispel this myth about Africa doesn't want us back. That's some bull. I talk to people that are from there, that have been here and also there. And that's a lie that because they don't want us to make that connection. I talked to some Nigerians who came through the Statue of Liberty, the immigration thing, and they tell them not to fool with us. And when you go there, they tell you not to fool with them. So it's all a conspiracy to keep us from making that connection, from us knowing ourselves. So I just like to end it with that and appreciate the platform. And I just want to, make up for last time I was going so fast and mention a lot of books and all that, not really breaking stuff down. And that's what I hope to do this show. So appreciate it, brother, and all the participants. Thanks for coming out, and let's keep this thing rolling.
Okay, well, I appreciate you, Brother Joe, and everybody that came out this evening to make a contribution. And there will be things happening that Brother Doctor has mentioned. That's already in formulation, and I will get some information out to a few people, and they could probably share it with you. But I want to thank go ahead, Brother Joe.
As far as a list where people can communicate, you know, because people might want to communicate with somebody that says something, don't have a number, don't have an email address, that sort of thing. So, need to look to devise something like that. You know what I mean? So people can, you know, communicate.
Okay, well, I'm quite sure that everybody on here knows someone, and we could start getting things together where we could. I'll devise that for the website. That's something that I will devise. So, well, okay. So, well, I want to thank everybody, and then I want to talk about what's going to happen on Monday. We're not going on Wednesdays for the next 5 weeks, and we have a brother coming back, Brother Thomas, and the topic is Black Insanity, doing the same thing and expecting different results, and that's a part 2 also, just like tonight's show was. So you guys, everybody welcome to come back on Monday at 6 o'clock. This Monday, the 26th at 6 o'clock. So I would like to say that I appreciate everybody, and each one teach one, and have a good evening.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I put my email address in the chat. Do you send a reminder email like this evening is the podcast, or I need to put that in my calendar?
Okay, well, it's normally on Wednesday at 6 p.m. every Wednesday. And you can go to communityeducationnetwork.com and you can just come on right there, or you can get information right there. You just have to click right there and you'll be on every time.
Okay, I'm at the website right now. I'll check it out some more.
Okay, all right. And participate in the forum if you don't mind. I put something on there just recently.
Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot. All right, each one teach one. Have a good evening, everybody.